YouTube? Back at it again with another banger video. This time we're taking a look at the first time Spider-Man ever met Dr. Strange. It took place in the Amazing Spider-Man Annual #2. And this is not the first time they ever appeared in a comic book together. I think that was in the first annual. But they didn't interact with each other in that issue. It was more of a cameo appearance from Dr. Strange. And in that first Spider-Man Annual, Spider-Man does fight Sandman. But in this issue, with him and Dr. Strange, there is a character who kind of looks like Sandman, but it's not him. It's just some random thug from, a dive bar. But he just so happens to be wearing a striped green shirt, which makes him look a lot like Sandman. But they're two different characters. Don't let that confuse you. So right off the bat, you see some of that psychedelic artwork from Steve Ditko, where he shows like the other dimensional planes, the Doctor Strange universes that he explores. And this is just an introduction to like what the story is going to be about. The villain in this issue, his name is Xandu. And I'm going to try and keep from calling him Xanadu.
They call it Xanadu.
So if you read right here in the introduction, this is like the bit that Stan Lee writes. It's kind of backhanded a little bit, because like in every issue that Stan writes, he's gonna write it with the most grandiose hyperbole that he can possibly come up with. But in this one, he's like, yeah, this is a story that Steve Ditko came up with, so don't blame us if it's bad. He's kind of making it seem like, preparing the audience for it to be a failure, which is kind of rude. I mean, I get that it could be taken as a joke. I think when I first read it, I took it as a joke, as like, just playful fun. But I don't know. Reading more about Stan Lee, I'm not sure if it is a joke or if he is like trying to slight somebody, But anyways, let's get into the story. We see Spider-Man, he's on patrol, he's bored, nothing's going on. Meanwhile, across town, there's this figure walking into a bar. This mysterious figure, he comes across this bar fight. These two brutish guys, these goons, they're beating up the entire bar, and he recruits them. He's like, "You're gonna work for me now," and they say, "Yeah, right," and then he mind controls them. He hits them with that mind control spell. And he makes it to where they can't feel pain. They feel no pain at all. And they can't refuse his will. So they're just like walking tanks, the zombie guys. And he uses them. They break into Dr. Strange's secret sanctorum, and they catch him off guard. And he tries to use this like spell where he multiplies himself to try and confuse these two goons, but they can see through it because the guy controlling them, he's able to see through the spell. And what this guy's after, this Xandu guy, he has half of this wand. It's called the Wand of Watum, and Dr. Strange has the other half, and he needs both halves to complete it to create like a magical artifact that's supposed to be like a super powerful, magical weapon. So that's what he's after. He sends these two goons out to beat up Dr. Strange, and it actually works. They catch him off guard, and he's not expecting it, and they're able to beat him up. And they find the other half of the wand, and they take it. And Spider-Man just so happens to be swinging around that part of the neighborhood, and as these two guys are leaving, they leave like from the skylight, and Spider-Man sees them up on the roof. And he hops in, and he tries to fight him. And they beat up him, too. So these two guys, like, they're just normal guys. They don't have any superpowers, but they have, like, this mind control spell where they don't feel any pain. And they beat up, like, two superheroes. Two of, like, Marvel's big superheroes. They beat up Spider-Man. He's there in, like, a crumpled up ball. He pulls out one of these tracking devices, these little spiders, and he flings it at this guy, and it lands on his pants. So he's able to follow this guy. And they go back to Xandu's lair here, and they've brought him the other half of this wand of Watum. And he says, with this wand, I can open the sealed doorways between dimensions. I can create passages to other worlds, other times. I can see any place, any object, any person I think of. There is Dr. Strange, still unconscious. Even he can no longer threaten me, now that I have the Wand of Watum. So he says he's going to destroy his enemies. Dr. Strange is going to be the first one. But Spider-Man has followed these two guys back to this lair. And he's listening in to this guy, give his big villain speech. And he interjects right there at the end before he can land the killing blow on Dr. Strange. And so he kind of gets in a fight. This guy's shooting these magical beams at him. And he's able to teleport Spider-Man away. He creates like a portal. And it sucks Spider-Man up. But as Spider-Man is going through this portal, he slings a web at the wand, and he's able to take it with him. So Xandu, he sends these two guys, his two henchmen, after him. And again, we get another cool shot of this other dimension, this other plane of existence that Steve Ditko is always drawing in the Doctor Strange books. And it's just fun to see Spider-Man in this sort of space. He does not seem afraid. Like, he doesn't seem to really care that much that he's not on Earth anymore, that he's not even in the same realm. He seems pretty calm about the whole thing, which I think a normal person would be freaking out if they were witnessing the impossible, this type of like horrifying existence. Anyways, the two guys, they follow him in, and now they're fighting in this like imaginary realm. And while they're doing all this, Doctor Strange, he finally wakes back up, and he's using like the Eye of Agamotto, I think that's how you pronounce it, to like follow the tracks that these guys left behind. He uses his levitation cloak to fly across town, and he's tracking down the guys too. And at the end of this page, Doctor Strange finds the lair where Xandu is at. I really like this panel. That cape is really cool. Even from behind, you can kind of tell like what pose he's in. So they have a sorcerer battle. They're shooting laser beams at each other. There's bolts of lightning and energy.
Lightning bolt! Lightning bolt! Lightning bolt! Lightning bolt! Sleep! Lightning bolt! Lightning bolt! Sleep! Lightning bolt!
Meanwhile, Spider-Man is fighting these two dudes in this other plane. And Spider-Man, he says that he has to kind of like let them win so that they'll be teleported back. When they are teleported back, Xandu takes the wand, he fires it at Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is thrown out the window. Xandu thinks that he's killed Doctor Strange, but really, Doctor Strange has just projected his astral form, this like ghost form that he takes sometimes. Just like Raven, I realize that Raven also does that in Teen Titans a lot. At least in the comics she does. Do that astral projection thing. So Xandu, he's using his wand to scan New York. He's trying to find Doctor Strange's body to make sure he's dead. And Doctor Strange is using his ghostly form to go and help Spider-Man while he's fighting these two henchmen. And while he's in this ghost form, he tells Spider-Man, he's like, oh, use this electrical wire and shock them, and it'll snap them out of their spell. And it works. They're out of the spell, and they don't know like how they got there. They're all tired, and they don't want to fight anymore. They have no reason to fight Spider-Man. So Spider-Man just leaves them there. It wasn't really their fault that they were mind controlled by this guy. So he leaves them there. Doctor Strange, he goes back and he finds his physical body, and they both go after Xandu. And Xandu, has this wand, and they both, attack him at the same time, and he's having trouble fighting on two fronts here. Doctor Strange hits him with this beam of energy. He drops the wand. Spider-Man webs up his hands, and they get the wand back. And Doctor Strange, he realizes at the end, he says, I realize now that the Wand of Watum is too potent, too menacing to ever fall into other hands. And so my mystic amulet will drain every bit of power out of it until all that remains is a harmless, simple ornament. The threat of Watum exists no more. And then it explains like the origin of Xandu. Dr. Strange reads his mind, and he sees like how he came to be. This seems like it would have been better at the beginning of the story to like set up who this guy is rather than on the last page. It explains like this guy, he was studying the occult and studying sorcery, and he had these scrolls, and he learned about the wand, and he went and stole the first half of the wand. And then he learned that Dr. Strange had the other half, so that's what set him on this path. And at the end of the story, he says, "Now I grant you the gift of total sleep. When you awake, your memory shall be cleansed of all that has happened. Your evil ambition shall have faded forever. In the name of the omnipotent Ostur, I declare it." So it's a mind wipe, which happens a lot in these Marvel stories. These old Marvel stories are filled with mind reading and mind wipes and mind control. And it never asks the morality questions or the ethics of it. I guess that they didn't really think of that back then. But that wasn't much of a concern for old Stan Lee. But anyways, that's the end of the tale. They go their separate ways. Till we meet again. It's the end. And that's the first meeting of Spider-Man and Dr. Strange, Steve Ditko's biggest creations. Please remember to press like, smash that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.